YouTube, what's going on? Listen, I'd like to welcome you back to the Wellness Tree podcast. I'm your host, Alexander Cummings. Listen, I'm glad you're here with me to take on this wellness journey and to better yourself and grow in knowledge, creativity, focusness, and understanding. Listen, if you like anything from this video, if anything from this video helps you, please like and subscribe, share it with somebody else so that the information can get passed on. All right. So I'm a man of my word, right? So I said we was going to get inside of the book, Mental Wellness Literacy. By the way, for those of y'all who don't know, I am the author of Mental Wellness Literacy, a proactive approach to mental health. It's a powerful book that I wrote. It's a quick read, and I truly believe that this book can help you. I know for a fact this book can help anybody. Why should you listen to me? Am I a mental health professional or somebody that went to school for 4 or 5, 6 years and got a PhD and a modern day therapist in mental health? No, I am not. But I am a person who have an experience, who have had an experience and who have been in a psych ward at one point and was able to survive it and come out on the other side and learn how to take control of my mental health. I am a person that have a lot of experience in doing that, and I just believe that I could give you some things. I could help you, right? If you're willing to be open and you're willing to receive this type of help. So let's get to it, right? Let's get right to it. We're gonna jump into chapter 1 of the book, Mental Wellness Literacy. Once again, like, share, and subscribe if you find that this information helps you. All right. So we're going to talk about one thing out of this chapter that I believe was powerful, that I know that you all could gain from this, right? I know that you can benefit from this. So, first of all, the name of the chapter is The Foundation of Humanity, right? And what I want to talk about in this chapter is what is the thing? First of all, I want to ask you, what is the secret power to humanity? Right? Human beings, us as human beings, what is our superpower? What is the thing that distinguishes us from any other living organism on the face of the planet? Have you ever thought about that? Right? Have you ever asked yourself that question? How powerful am I as a human being? What are the God given traits that God has literally placed in us, in me as a human being, that separates me from a lion, a tiger, an elephant, a fish, a bird, a bear, any other living species of an animal, of anything of that sort, right? I thought it was a very powerful question. And I want to go to a research that this man wrote inside of my book. I told you this guy, he wrote this research. His name is Nathaniel Branden, and he did a research basically on, his book is about self-esteem, but he did this research on humanity, and I want to give you something that I put inside this book. All right. And here Brandon also discussed the differences between mankind and animals, and he accomplished this by saying that animals and humans are both living organisms, right? We all can agree with that. Animals and humans are living organism. That goes back to my question that I asked you. But what sets each class of species apart is their range of consciousness. So we understand that animals and species, they come in classes and they have a range of consciousness, right? They have an ability, they have a way of thinking, they have a way that they do things, right? All species have that. And he goes deeper with this explanation, indicating that human beings have the largest range of consciousness out of any living species that ever existed. We understand that. We know that God creation of human is the greatest creation known to the planet, right? The greatest species that God ever created was human beings. That's in the Bible. This attribute gives humans a distinct ability to discriminate the versatility of action or response. In other words, mankind can navigate and create its environment by choice, free will, and most importantly, awareness. right? So why am I bringing this up? I think one of the most important concepts when it comes to us starting to begin this journey of mental health and bringing our mental health up into a strong, stable place, it has to start and begins with our ability to understand consciousness, right? Our ability to understand our awareness, what's going on around us, right? And I believe, based on this study, that that is the superpower that God gave us as human beings, right? And sometimes we neglect that superpower. Sometimes we walk around and we go through our life and we're not even consciousness of half of the things that's going on. Like, we're not even really thinking about how things are affecting us, right? The decisions that we making that are having a cause and effect, right? The relationships and people that we are around that's having a certain type of effect within our lives, even down to the food we eat, how that food affects us from our how that food affects us from a standpoint of health, and all of those different type of things, right? So that's the part I want to bring out, right? But let's go to a definition of consciousness. Let's break that down, right? The definition of consciousness is the state of being aware of and responsive to. That's important. Responsive to one's surrounding, including one's own thought and feelings. I'm gonna read that one more time. The state of being aware of or responsive to one's own thoughts and feelings and surroundings, right? So when we're dealing with consciousness, obviously consciousness gives us the ability to respond to our environments, right? It gives us the ability to dictate our environments and begin to create our environments. Just like we talked about in that research that Mr. Nathaniel gave us when he said mankind can navigate and create its environments by choice. That goes one of those words that talk about building, being responsive to our environment, choice, free will, and most importantly, awareness. So basically, our ability to upgrade our consciousness, bring our consciousness to a high level, would give us the power to have the awareness to start to create our environment. I want to give you this, right? You can create your own environment. You can create the type of life that you want to experience. You can create the type of life that you want to walk out day in and day out. And I think that's a very powerful thing. I think that's a very powerful thing that God gives us the ability to do, because most people believe that they cannot create that. Most people believe that they're not powerful enough, wise enough to create the type of life that they want to live out, which is one of the things that I talk about in my book as it pertains to having a proactive approach to mental health. You creating your environment really speaks to that ability to be proactive, meaning how my life is going to go. I want to be strategic in that. I want to be intentional in that so that I could begin to build this life of stability and strength. So what I want to leave you with, right? How how conscious are you? How much value do you place on being conscious? How much value do you place on being aware of how certain things are making you feel? How certain environments are making you feel? Right? Like that job you work day in and day out. How does that job uh, equates to your identity as a person? Because I know every day in life, we got to work job, we got to pay bills, right? Everybody got a job. Everybody has something that they have to do to put food on the table. I'm married. I got two children, so I got to go to work and create something, right, to bring home to feed my children. But how does that affect me? Is this job, is there areas in this job that are affecting me from a negative standpoint, and what am I doing to begin to change those things? based on my ability to have choice, right? Free will and awareness. What kind of choices am I making? That's another great thing, another great question you should ask yourself. Am I a good choice maker? Do I make the right choice most of the time, right? When we talk about food and we talk about eating, are you eating the right food? Or are you making, attempts to eat healthy? That deals with choices, right? That deals with you being having the ability to make the right choice, even to down to the career. Am I choosing a career that is towards my identity as a person, that is towards something that I want to achieve and accomplish? And, I feel not necessarily fulfilled, but I feel a sense of purpose in what I'm doing, right? Those are all powerful questions that you should start to ask yourself, because you could build your environment. God has placed you on this earth to build your environment, right? God has placed you on this earth and given you the ability of free will to be able to create the type of lifestyle you want to live from a physical standpoint and from a mental standpoint. So I believe that when it pertains to mental health, starting off, right, is understanding the power of consciousness, understanding this superpower that God's given us, right? Understanding this thing that God has allowed us to have, which is called the mind, that could open up a lot of things that we could begin to see and use to our advantage as it pertains to having a stable life, as it pertains to having a fulfilling life, or having a life of purpose, right? Wanting to get up in the morning, wanting to get started on your day, wanting to exercise and do different things that's going to incorporate your experience in life, because we all get one life, right? That's one thing that we have to understand. We all get one life. You get one time to live. You only get a handful of summers. God willing, you get a bunch of summers. You get a whole lot of summers. I believe that we all could live. I'm hoping and praying that we could live to be the oldest age that we could possibly be. But how intentional are we being about those years that God has given us? How intentional are we being about our time? How intentional are we being about doing things that are productive, right? As it pertains to you being a person and taking control of your mental health, it's all about that level of being intentional. It's all about being proactive concerning that, right? So that's what we talked about today. That's that's the point that I wanted to bring out of that first chapter. And I'm telling you, it's a whole lot of other things in that first chapter as well that gets more into biblical, concepts and things that the Bible say concerning that information as well. And us being able to overcome ourselves personally, and just overcome, our flesh pretty much, and overcome, how we think about ourselves, and how we go about different things. So listen, I hope you enjoyed that, right? The thing to take away from that is how much respect are you putting on your own personal consciousness? How important is your consciousness to you? Are you aware, right? Are you a person that is doing what you need to do to start understanding your environment so that you can start to create your environment? You can start to dictate how your environment flows. You can start to have those different levels of boundaries, right? So ask yourself that question, write it down. Good thing to do is to start to, really take a step back this week and start paying attention to a lot of things that's going on around you. Start taking mental notes of that, right? And I guarantee you that stuff will start to open you up. That'll start to take you on that journey and start increasing your mental health. So once again, I'd like to thank you all for coming in on this episode. I enjoyed my time with you. I kind of had fun with that session. Listen, if this video was impactful to you in any way, leave a comment down at the bottom of the in the comment section. Like and subscribe, share it to somebody, and let's get this information out. But once again, thank you for tuning in with me. Y'all have a good one. Be cool. Peace. Oh my God.